Okay, so again, hello everyone. My name is Jenna Meyer. I work in housing here at the University of Pittsburgh. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. And I apologize for the technical difficulties regarding the passcode. It's brand new. This is the first session that we've actually had to require a passcode, so we apologize that you weren't sent it prior to attending this. I will ask that if you are currently not on mute, to mute yourself so we don't have any background noise during the presentation. And the way that it will work is I'm going to go over a brief PowerPoint that kind of highlights some upcoming deadlines, and we'll go over building options, meal plan options, resources available to you, and then at the end, we will open it up for Q&A. So I'm going to share my screen here now, and let me know if somebody could just give me a thumbs up in their reaction so they can know, so I can know that you can see my screen. That would be great. I cannot see your screen yet, Jenna. Thank you. Can you see it now? Yes, it's loading. Awesome, I see thumbs up. So let's get started. Okay, so if you are an incoming first year student, you should have already, or I'll preface this by saying, once you submit your admissions deposit, it will take about 7 to 10 business days for admissions for their information to push over to the housing portal for us to set you up to apply for on-campus housing. So once it gets pushed over to us, we set you up so you're able to go on and apply, and then you'll get an email from Panther Central with your welcome email and information from housing saying you now have access to go on to apply for housing. Within that email is a deadline specifically for you. So up until last week, we only had students who had a deadline of May 1st to complete their housing application. But now that we're approaching May 1st, we now have a May 8th deadline. So you could have one of those two deadlines. Make sure you're checking your email for that deadline. And that's the deadline that you actually have to have your housing deposit in and your housing application complete. So like I said before, it's May 1st or May 8th, depending on when you had deposited through admissions and the way that you've been pushed over to the housing portal. You either have one of those two dates as your housing deadline. To go along with your housing deadline, we now have a pre-submit your photo deadline as well. So you want to make sure that you pre-submit your photo for your Panther card by that deadline as well, because your Panther card is your like ticket to everything on campus. It's how you'll swipe in and out of your residence hall. It's your meal plan will be on it. You can do your laundry with it. You can get on the city buses with it. And we want to make sure that we have your photo and file so we can print your ID and either mail it to you or have it ready for you to pick up during arrival. So whatever that deadline is for your housing application is also the deadline for you to pre-submit your photo. Once you've completed your housing application by your deadline, you are able to go in and update your preferences for your building, your meal plan, your roommates, and your LLCs all the way up until June 1st. So the June 1st deadline is when you have to have all of your supplemental preferences updated by. It's your housing application and housing contract that needs to be done by your actual May 1st or May 8th deadline. So as long as you have your contract completed by your deadline, you're set for guaranteed housing. And then you have the entire month of May to figure out if you want to apply for an LLC or if you want a roommate request, things like that. Those are all for a June 1st deadline, because housing does not even look at your applications until June 2nd. So you could have a May 1st or a May 8th deadline. You could update your preferences a million times in May, and we will not look at your application until June 1st, because June 2nd, because that is when we start housing assignments for first years, and we do them all at the same time. So it doesn't matter if you deposited last November, it doesn't matter if you deposited today. We do everyone's housing assignments at the same time. And I will actually show you the update preferences portal here in a little bit, but just let you know that that is the deadline for everyone, June 1st. So this grid here can be found on our website at pc.pitt.edu. And if you select first year housing, these are some of the building options, or all of the building options, I should say, as an incoming first year student. And I'm not going to dive in deep to all of these accommodations, but I do want to give some pointers if you are a student and you kind of don't know what to put on your application. So we require you to put at least 3 building preferences on your housing application, and that's because we can't guarantee that you're going to get your first choice. But if we can put you in somewhere that's your second or third choice, or something that is very close to what you have on your housing app, then that is what we will do. It's really hard assigning over 4,000 first year students, but we really try to make everybody happy in basing it off their preferences, their roommate requests, and their LLC requests. So one of the major questions I like to ask students as they're coming in and they're kind of confused on what to put on their preferences is, what matters most to you? Are you someone who wants a roommate? Are you someone who wants a couple roommates? Are you someone who wants to be on lower campus? Do you want to be on upper campus? And how do you feel about communal bathrooms versus semi-private bathrooms? Because those are things that some students don't really consider before they put their preferences on their housing application. So this grid here kind of outlines it all for you. So you can see that room types, you have suites, doubles, and singles. For bathroom types, you have semi-private or communal bathrooms and showers. And then something else that we like to put on here is air conditioning, because some students need that air conditioning. Some students don't need that air conditioning because Pittsburgh is very weird and it's only hot for like a certain amount of time, and then you need a winter coat for like the other 10 months of the year. So to take a look at this grid and kind of figure out what your priorities are, no building is the wrong building choice. You're going to meet amazing people in all of these buildings. All of our first year students have great experiences in all of them. They all have RAs. There will be programming in all of them, so you should have the same kind of experience in all of your buildings. It just depends on what your preferences are whenever you're looking to live on campus. So something else that can be a little bit daunting is selecting your meal plan this early on. And that's why you're just putting your meal plan preference on your housing application. And although we do assign you the meal plan preference whenever we assign you your housing as well, you do have the opportunity to change your meal plan all the way up until add drop in the fall term, which I believe is either at the end of August or early September. So if by chance right now you decide to put the weekday unlimited plan with $300 dining dollars as your preference, and that's what you're assigned because maybe you're local and you anticipate going home on the weekends, but then you meet really awesome people here, you join a couple of clubs, an intramural sport, and you're actually spending a lot of time on campus on the weekends, and you want to upgrade that meal plan to the unlimited regular plan, you're able to do that all the way up until add drop. So don't feel afraid about picking your meal plan right now. You do have plenty of time to change that, and you have a good opportunity to kind of feel out what works best for you whenever you arrive here in August. So there are 2 all-you-care-to-eat facilities on campus, which are the Eatery and the Perch. The Eatery is on lower campus, the Perch is on upper campus. Dining dollars can be used at on-campus dining facilities like Einstein Brothers and like Taco Bell in the Union and Chick-fil-A, which is in the Pitt. So you are able to use dining dollars there. So that's what that dollar amount is associated with each meal plan. So unlimited with 300 is 300 dining dollars. And if you feel as if the 300 might not be enough for you, we do give the opportunity later on in the semester to add more dining dollars to your plan. So you don't have to feel like 300 is like end all be all. We do give you the opportunity to add more. Okay. So this is just a screenshot of what the first year portal looks like. Step one is always to complete your housing application by your deadline. And then below that would be update your preferences and apply for an LLC. And I will actually go into the portal here in a couple minutes. I just wanted to show you the screenshot of that. Some resources that are available to students and parents or any support to your student. We always have the housing services website, which is at pc.pitt.edu, and we'll drop this link in the chat as well for you to reference building options and other resources on campus, whether that is athletics or DRS or student affairs. We work really well with our partners, so anything that you might need as an accommodation on campus, we would be sure to feel fit. Panther Central is a really great resource. They are open 24/7. Feel free to call, chat, or email, and whatever answer they can't get for you, they connect with us so that we are giving you the right answer. And then we have our past Zoom sessions already posted to our website, and then we still have upcoming Zoom sessions for the rest of April and into May. So if you feel as if you have another question or you want to sit through the PowerPoint again, feel free to register again for an upcoming Zoom session. Okay, so before we go into Q&A, I am going to exit my PowerPoint here and show you the first year portal. So I have already completed my housing application by my deadline, so I will never have to go back into this link here where it says apply here. If I have any updates that I want to make to my housing application, I will now click proceed here to update my preferences. And this pulls all the information that I have already put on my housing application, so I can update it here. So I put down that I'm currently interested in 12-month housing, but maybe I'm not anymore. I don't plan on being in Pittsburgh next summer, so there's really no reason for me to inquire about 12-month housing. Maybe I don't want to be in an LLC anymore, so I'm going to update that. My RSA interest, there's a little bit more information on about RSA on the housing application, but it is the Resident Student Association. It's an opportunity for you to get involved in like hall council, which is not like it's like a governmental board for each hall. So there's like a president, a VP, a social chair, things like that, if you really want to be involved with your hall. And then this assignment priority question here. So we do get questions about assignment priority because we have students that apply for an LLC, but also have a roommate request. And this is specifically for those students because we have years where LLCs are able to pull in roommate requests, even if the roommate did not apply for the LLC because there's enough space for them. But then we also have years where we don't have enough space for the student and the roommate. So by asking this question, we are asking the student to prioritize. If I'm accepted into an LLC, but there's no room for my roommate, would I rather be released from the LLC to live with my roommate outside of the LLC, or would I rather choose the LLC over my roommate? So if you are not doing both of those things, you don't have to answer this question at all, but this is for students who are looking into both of those options. Room preferences, like I said before, we ask you to do 3. And you can see here my preferences. Maybe I really don't want to live in a single, so I'm going to remove Lothrop, and maybe I'm going to add in now a hall and double because I really want to live in a double room with only one roommate. So I want to be on lower campus in a double, and those are all of my options for lower campus in a double. Roommate matching preferences. This is specifically for students who really are looking to meet new people who really don't have a roommate request, but they want to live with somebody else. We base our roommate matching assignments on these questions. So if you're somebody who has a really hard time, waking up in the morning, or you're not somebody who stays up late, or you're not a smoker, make sure you answer these questions because we want to make sure that we're pairing you with the best roommate match possible. If you are someone who already knows someone who is coming to Pitt and you want to live with them, or you are using our third-party option RoomSync to find a roommate that you've already paired with someone, this is where you will create your roommate group. And each student or each group needs to identify a leader. So let's say that I want to be the leader of my group. I'm going to create a group here, and you can see that I'm status is leader. And I'm going to invite my friend Holly to live with me. So there's Holly. I'm going to select Holly. And now you can see the status is invited. So now when Holly goes in to update her preferences after she has already applied, where it says remove here, on her end, it'll actually say accept or decline, and she'll have to accept my invitation to be a part of my group. And then her status will then go from invited to member. So in order for us to see a complete group, there must be a leader and there must be a member. Nobody in the group should be invited because that's not a true group. And you can only be a part of one group at a time. So let's say that Holly and I meet another group of 2 students that we want to live with, and they want to invite us into their group. In order for them to invite me, I need to remove Holly from here, and I need to leave this group so that my friends can invite me to be a part of their group. And then Holly and I will then go on and hit accept to be a group of 4. So our third-party roommate matching system that we use is called RoomSync, and RoomSync emails will be going out shortly, and it will come directly from RoomSync. But you have to have completed the housing application in order to get access to RoomSync. And RoomSync is an app that it's kind of like these roommate matching questions, but they're a little bit more in depth. And you can swipe to find roommates. It'll have matching scores and things like that. You can message them and talk to other students directly right on the app. And you can find somebody else. And the great news is, even if you match with somebody in RoomSync, but you don't want to live with them, you don't have to create a roommate group with them. You can just use it as a resource to maybe meet new people on campus as well. In order to actually create the roommate group to live together, you have to come back into the housing application to actually send the invitation and accept it. So if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. We are going to be sending out more communication here shortly in the next couple of weeks about the roommate process, because we want to do it closer to May. So in the last month before the June 1st deadline is when we're really focusing on making sure everyone has their LLC applications completed and everyone has their roommate matching questions updated and their roommate groups formed. So we are diligent about sending out reminders to make sure that if you are invited in a group and you have not accepted your invitation, you will hear from us saying you've been invited, but you haven't accepted. Are you going to accept? If not, please hit decline so that we know that you do not want to be a part of this group. Okay, so that is within the preferences. And let's say that I actually want to be a part of an LLC. I'm gonna, maybe I want to be a part of the ROTC LLC. I'm gonna hit finish. It's gonna update my application. And now whenever I go in to actually apply for an LLC, I just click here and it'll direct me right to my ROTC application. So we do have LLCs. We have partners within LLCs that create specific applications for those LLCs. Not every LLC application is the same. And to make sure that you actually complete the LLC application by June 1st, so that we know that you are seriously interested in living in the LLC. And like I said before, we will send out reminder emails. So even if I clicked ROTC there, but I haven't completed my application, I'm going to be getting an email in May saying, we see you indicated interest in ROTC. Don't forget to complete your application by June 1st. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing my screen and I'm going to open up the chat, and I'm going to start from the top. Give me 1 second. Okay, so Audrey asked, when do we get the room sync email? That will be emailed out in the next probably 2 weeks before May 1st. So you actually get like the full experience to trying to find your roommate, and we'll give you at least 30 days to do that. Nick asked, if you are in honors, but your desired roommate is not, can you still live in Sutherland? So something I want to chat about with honors is I know that if you're accepted into the honors college, they give priority into the LLC, but by being accepted into the honors college does not automatically enroll you into the LLC. So if you are interested in living in the honors LLC, first you need to make sure that you're completing the supplemental LLC application for honors. But if your desired roommate is not in honors, but you both want to live in Sutherland, we do have a whole other side of Sutherland that you can live in. So like I had said before, we may have space in Sutherland for you to pull in your non-honors roommate, but we may not have space. We really don't know until the June 1st deadline. So I would just both preference Sutherland in your buildings, and then to make sure that whenever you're updating your preferences on your application that you rank LLC or roommate in case you are accepted and they can't accept your roommate in. That way we can try our best to make sure that you are at least with your roommate somewhere if that is what your priority is. Question is, will this housing deadline email be sent to our Pitt email or our regular email? Panther Central and Housing will only ever correspond with students to their Pitt email address. So nothing will ever go to your Gmail or your Yahoo or your Apple email. You should always be checking your Pitt email because that is how we communicate with you for everything. Ryan asked, how do you change your preferences? I think I've already walked through that, but feel free to look onto past Zooms or even this Zoom whenever it's posted to actually walk through how to update your preferences. Tatiana asked, do all people on an LLC have a roommate, or can I be part of an LLC and have a single room? It honestly depends on where the LLC is located and if that space offers room for doubles or roommates, roommates or singles. We can't guarantee that you're going to be in a single if the LLC itself doesn't offer single accommodations. So I would be sure to maybe preference some single buildings on your housing application and still apply for the LLC. And then depending on if you get into the LLC or not, you can always ask the LLC coordinator those kinds of questions. And if you want to be released because your preference more or your priority more is to live in a single over the LLC, then that's what we can accommodate you with. Nancy asked, is it better to indicate all 5 preferences for housing, or is 3 enough? Honestly, it's up to you. Like I said, we really try to put students in their top 3. So that's why 3 is required on the housing application. Not everybody does 5. So, but everybody has to do 3. So up to you. Also, I'm sorry that like the shade keeps coming over my face. The sun is like outside of my window. Rachel asked, so there are no suites in Sutherland for 21-22. There are absolutely suites in Sutherland as of right now for the school year of 21-22. Sutherland has spaces available that are 2-person doubles, 4-person suites, 6-person suites, and 8-person suites. And based off what the COVID Medical Response Office has recommended for housing, we are able to provide those suite options for our incoming first-year students because it allows a certain number of students per bathroom, the space is okay, things like that. Question, what are the plans for the 8-person suite in Sutherland for the upcoming year? 8-person suites will remain the same. We had them this year and it was totally fine. So we are keeping it again for next year. Question, which dining plan is the most popular? Honestly, it's hard to say. I don't really have those statistics, but I can say that a lot of students do lean towards the unlimited plan with the $300 dining dollars because they want to get the most out of their meal plan and really take advantage of all the meal plan options on campus. So I would say that would probably be one of the most popular ones, but I'm not recommending one or the other. Like I said, if you choose one now, you still have plenty of time to change it before add drop. Sam asked, if you already found 3 other roommates, is Bruce Hall the only option? No, Sutherland has 4-person suites. And if we are not able to accommodate even a 4-person suite, you may end up with within a 6-person suite with 2 other students, or an 8-person suite with 4 other students. So we really try to keep roommates together regardless of suite size. Will the chat and recording be sent to the parents? It won't be sent, but it will be posted to our website. We will drop the link in the chat. It'll be saved and probably posted in the next couple of days. Stephanie asked, if a requested roommate also applies to the LLC, will they be placed together? Yeah, so we really try our best to make sure that if roommates are applying for an LLC and they are both accepted, then we are placing them together within the LLC. So the LLCs do get roommate requests along with the applications. Jen asked, is the honors program an LLC? And I touched on this before. Being accepted into the honors college is one thing, and they give priority to live in the honors LLC, but you have to apply for the LLC to live within the honors LLC. We have plenty of honors college students that apply for other LLCs like engineering and health sciences and nursing. So it really just depends on what LLC you want to live in, but the honors program itself is not an LLC. You have to apply for the LLC to live in it. We will provide the link for the on-campus housing features chart here in a couple minutes. Stephanie asked, is there more to the LLC application than just clicking on the LLC in the housing application? Yes. So if you indicated an interest in an LLC within your housing application, you then have to actually go in to complete the living learning community application. Oh, I'm sorry, you can't see my screen right now. I'll share my screen quickly. So this is the portal. Like I said before, I've already updated my application to say that I want to live in the ROTC LLC, and now to apply for the LLC, I click there, and the supplemental application opens up. And this is where you actually go in and answer the questions, and you have to hit submit and everything like that to make sure that you've actually applied for the LLC itself. Question, what is LLC? That's a really great question. So LLC is a living learning community. So these are on-campus communities that are sporadic throughout our residence halls, and the communities are based off of major or interest. So we have major-based LLCs like engineering and health science, and then we have interest-based LLCs like music or women lead or sustainability, where you may just want to meet other people that have similar interests to you. So you can apply for those communities by completing the application online. Dana asked, what is the price difference for housing for 12 months versus not 12 months? So really no price difference. We're still going to charge you by term depending on what building you're in, but it's mostly for us to learn if you will need housing during winter break and summer break. So we do have housing available over winter break for students that are not able to, go home for winter break. And those are either residence halls or somewhere else within the Oakland range where we place all of our winter housing students, and that is a day-to-day cost. So I can't really give you a price range of that, but that's like only if you need it for winter and summer. It's not like a full 12-month rate. It just depends on where you're placed, where you're housed, and things like that. And you're only charged that if you actually commit to that housing during that time. I heard there will be no triples due to COVID, but will there be quads, particularly on Holland? At this time, no. The plan for Holland is to only provide singles and doubles. And that was, like I said before, the COVID Medical Response Office, they recommended that triples and quads, due to the amount of space and the amount of students that would be living within that square footage, they recommended us to not have triples and quads. So there will only be singles and doubles available in Holland Hall. A question came in, do you have to be in the honors program to live in Sutherland? No, because we have a full other side of the hall for non-honors students in Sutherland. So you can always preference Sutherland. There's always a really great community up there that are non-honors. There's Sutherland East and Sutherland West. And depending on what side honors is in, then the other side will be open for regular student housing. If you are already accepted to the honors program and want to live in the Honors LLC, what do you need to do? You will need to go into your update preferences and make sure it says honors for your LLC preference, and then you'll click that LLC application button and it will take you right to the honors application. That is what you'll need to complete, and then honors will look over all the applications at the same time and accept their number of students into the LLC. What is the layout of a 6-person suite in Sutherland? Sorry, the light, it's throwing me off. The layout of a 6-person suite is 3 doubles. So you'll share a room with one other person, a small sitting area, and then a bathroom with shower stall and toilet. Rachel asked, how likely are you to be in a 4-person suite if none of you are in the honors college? So I really can't gauge that because it all depends on the number of applications, number of roommate requests, all the other preferences. We really try to keep our groups together, but I can't guarantee that you will end up in a 4-person suite. Like I had said previously, you could potentially end up in a suite like a 6-person or an 8-person. So we are still able to keep your roommates together, but you may have a few other roommates within your suite. Owen asked, are dining dollars just extra or do they replace the meal plan? Dining dollars are like an added bonus. So unlimited with 300 means you have unlimited swipes to get in and out of the Eatery and the Perch. So if you want to go in at breakfast, lunch, and dinner, feel free to swipe 3 times within that day. And you can go 7 days a week. That's 21 swipes. But if by chance, and then you have your dining dollars to use at all of our other on-campus facilities, like I had said before, Taco Bell, Chick-fil-A. I just name those ones because they're my favorite. We have Pizza Hut, plenty of other great options. Take a look at the dining website to look at that. But they are just like an added bonus. So if you want to grab a smoothie before class and you want to go and grab one at the Pitt, you can do that. You don't have to use a meal swipe or anything for that. You would just use dining dollars. But then like if you run out of dining dollars, you still can use as many swipes as you want if you have the unlimited plan. So it's not really pressure to add or use your dining dollars, but you pay for them, so you might as well use them. And for anybody that's in the chat right now, Amanda Smith, who's on here, she's one of my colleagues. She is dropping the links that everyone is asking for in the chat. So take a look at them over there. Someone had asked if you were doing a 4-person suite and not accommodated with it, will your roommates get split apart? Unfortunately, yes, times like this do happen, but what we try to do is place your requested roommates and yourself as close together as possible. So if we're not able to accommodate you in a 4-person suite, we might put you in 2 doubles next to each other in Towers or Nordenberg or something like that, so that we can at least try to keep you as close together as possible. Julie asked, do you have an LLC for humanities - art history? I would take a look at the student affairs page for LLCs. It has a drop down of all of the LLCs there. But on the top of my head, I don't think we have one like that, but we do have one for appreciation of the arts. So that's well-rounded, right? Not just art history. So take a look at that. Another question, when will we learn about our specific move-in date? What is the date range to move in? So we are still establishing arrival dates. Nothing is set in stone at this point. The CMRO has not provided us with the recommended dates or how many people can move in on a day yet. But as soon as we know that you all will be the first ones to know, stay up to date on our website with headlines, and then make sure your students are checking their emails, because that is where they will find out their arrival information, but they will not find out their arrival information until they find out their housing assignment, which does not go out until July. So you may find that arrival is in August, but your specific date and time is fully based on where you live on campus, and they can't schedule those days and times until, or you can't find out the days and times until you know where you live. And so we spend all of June doing our housing assignments for our first years, and then we relay all that information out in July. There is an additional charge for housing during winter recess and summer because our housing contract is a 2-term contract based off of the academic calendar for move in and move out. So any dates that are not covered in those 2 terms are additional terms that we add to the calendar, so that is an additional charge to stay on campus. Someone asked, can we select any side then in the housing application for Sutherland? Will they just know we want the side that honors is not in? Yes, so preference Sutherland if you want to live in Sutherland. If you're not in the honors LLC, we'll try to assign you in the other side of Sutherland. We know internally who's in the LLC and who is not. Someone asked, do you have virtual tours of housing? Our website has links on each housing page. There are U-Visit links to take a look at like room tours and things like that. So make sure you're checking our website for tours. Someone asked if they're having issues accessing the preferences page, but they've already completed the housing application. I would try to just exit the portal altogether and go back in through My Pitt. And whenever you get to that page, to then go into update preferences. Someone asked, how are Tower C singles? They are great. They are center of campus, just like Towers A and B, but you get your own room and you still get to live with other students on your floor. Great location, air conditioning, single. Honestly, it's what I would probably like to live in as a student, just because I don't want to have a roommate, but Tower C is great. Can you swipe more than 3 times a day with the unlimited plan? I believe so, yes. Amanda, correct me if I'm wrong, but you can literally just swipe in if you want to grab like a snack or something throughout the day as well.
Yes, that is correct. I think though you might have to, like, if you swiped in at 12, you might have to wait till 1 to swipe in again. I don't think you can do it multiple times in an hour.
12, 12:15, 12:30, 12:45. So I'm only going to answer about 5 more minutes worth of questions. We've got a lot coming in, But if we do not get your questions answered, to please reach out to PC, like I had said before, and to check out our website to make sure that you're understanding the information there. And then you can always chime in for more Zoom sessions every Tuesday now, at least until the end of May. How are food allergies handled in the cafeterias? Do all the eateries accommodate allergies? Yes. Take a look at the dining page. If you have specific accommodations that we need to consider, you should email Pitt Dining so that they are aware of your allergies and to see if we can accommodate you in any way. But I know that in the past few years, our dining facilities have really taken strides to make sure that allergies are taken care of within the dining halls. Do you know if there are also discounts for the Carnegie Museum with the Panther card? I'm like 99.9% sure that your Panther card actually gets you into all the Carnegie museums for free as a student. So, and that includes the Andy Warhol Museum. So definitely take advantage of taking the bus over to the museum or walking there and getting in for free for your entirety of 4 years here. Is it safe to say that there will be no triples in any building next year? At this time, there are no true triples, but you are still able to create a group of 3. Like I had said before, we can still accommodate you in a 4-person, a 5-person, a 6-person, and an 8-person suite, with just other roommates in the suite as well. Do students have to move their belongings out of the residence halls between fall and spring semester? No. Whenever you move out in the fall, you can leave your belongings there. And then in the spring, you can just bring your duffel bag and move right back into the same room if you are coming back to the same space. Oh, Amanda, you already answered that, sorry. Should I use room sync if I want to live in a single? I would recommend not using room sync unless you were looking for an actual roommate. If you want to live in a single, to preference all of our single options on campus for first years, which would be Tower C, Holland, and Lothrop, and we can try to accommodate you in a single. You'll still meet plenty of people on your floor. And my last question that I'll answer here is, do you have to put 5 choices on your form? The answer is no. We require you to only put 3. And do you have a better chance of getting your first choice if you go random or define a roommate? So I can't really answer this because it honestly just depends each year on the kind of preferences that come in. The number of roommate requests that we get differs every single year. But coming from someone that does the housing assignments herself, whenever I'm doing my assignments and I see that someone has a roommate request and maybe the roommates don't have the same preferences on their buildings, I am more likely to put roommates together in like a 3rd or 4th choice than to put someone who does not have a roommate request into that into their 3rd or 4th choice. Because if I'm assigning someone, I would feel way more comfortable putting someone with their requested roommate in a building that might be their 3rd choice rather than someone who doesn't have a roommate at all and putting them in their 1st choice. That means I'm at least giving them like at least one of their definitive preferences, if that makes sense. Like for people that request roommates, my top priority is to make sure your roommates are together. And if I'm giving you that, then I'm still going to give you one of your building preferences. Whereas someone who doesn't have a roommate at all, my top priority is to get them into one of their top choices because they are willing to live with anyone as long as they are in that building. Like I said before, we take in a lot into consideration whenever we do our assignments, LLCs, roommates, accommodations, things like that. And if you have any specific questions, to reach out to Panther Central. I'm hoping that we are able to provide some more information regarding LLCs in May. I believe we're going to have a Res Life representative attend one of our meetings. So if you have any like LLC specific questions, to keep an eye out on that Zoom page to register for it there. She can answer more questions about the experience within living in the LLCs. Whereas I am someone who administratively is just doing the assignments based off of what people tell me on their applications. So don't forget to make sure you have your housing application completed by your deadline, which is in your Pitt email from Panther Central. And then you can update your preferences within your application as many times as you need to before June 1st. So that is the deadline for your preferences. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. Otherwise, I hope everybody has a great evening, and thank you again for attending. Thank you.